Jimmy Taylor was the second leading rusher in the history of the game. He was the 1962 Most Valuable Player. He's one of 3 Pro Football Hall of Famers produced by Louisiana State University, the others being Steve Van Buren and Y.E. Tittle. And he is a man whose legacy has lasted 46 years after he retired at the age of 32. Now, he was a guy who was not as well known for his exploits at LSU. Tigers were not all that good in those days, but in his senior year, Jim led the Southeastern Conference in rushing and led the nation in scoring. And his backfield mate was a fellow named Billy Cannon in 1957. And why don't we start there? You were at LSU as Paul Dietzel was just beginning the program. I think you're the one who dubbed him the Great White Father.
I don't know whether I dubbed him that, but we just saw him yesterday, and he's going through some struggles now. But he came here and really put this program on the map and really instilled his leadership and his quality as a head coach, and did a tremendous job taking them to the national championship. There's nothing any higher than that.
And you were recruited by Gaynell Tinsley.
Correct, yes. I came here, and the freshmen couldn't play in those years, and I played on the freshman team, and then we started and played some linebacker and played the running back, and so got into college ball, and then worked out fine.
In your day, as a collegian, players played both offense and defense. You had to be in a different kind of shape, better shape than players today. Did you think that was superior to the brand of football we see today?
Well, it was a specialization, where you just had to be out on the field either an offensive player or a defensive player. It's like the professional ball where you have specialization. Is the football better now, or is it better in my years when I was with the Green Bay Packers? I'd like to ask you that question. Let's turn the tables. With the specialization and with the football players, where you have 32 teams, and after 6 or 8 games, then about 20 or 25 of those teams can stay at home. They don't have to make the road games.
You're right. There are more teams. There are more players on the team. So
more season, 16.
Longer season.
16 games.
The players are certainly bigger and stronger, but that may have to do with nutrition and technique, which if you had available to you. I think a guy like Jim Taylor could play in any era. I think if Jim Taylor and Jim Brown were in the league right now, they would be the 2 best running backs in their prime in the league today.
Well, we got involved. I got in with Alvin Roy. I got into working out at his gym over there on Nicholson Drive and started to develop myself with the upper body, knowing that I'd been throwing newspapers for 6 or 8 years and built up my legs, and so I was working on the upper body to be able to compete in athletics as I went into Baton Rouge High School.
Well, Alvin Roy, the man he mentions, he was on the cutting edge of physical fitness, and there was a time when football players were discouraged from lifting weights.
It was, and here again, it's a misconception, and some coaches or whatever, you'd be too upper body and too tight through the shoulders and couldn't turn and catch passes and do things that you need to do, and this wasn't the case. And here again, you still just building some tight muscles that won't affect you, won't give you the opportunity to have good range of motion.
Now, you were regarded as kind of a bulldog, a guy who gained the tough yards, but I note that you had an 84-yard run once in your NFL career.
Yeah, I did. I think the opponents of the Detroit Lions, I think they went to sleep or dozed off or whatever. I came down, I broke through the line down a sweep play, and I came down and I can't recall the defender there, and I hit him about midfield, and I picked up a block, and we all went in the end zone together, and it was a little bit of a shocker, surprise. So if you don't have those runs and you go out there and this happens, then you're shocked. So you have to just continue with the play and do the best you can.
Well, Alex Karras didn't catch you?
No, Alex did not. He caught me between the tackles on a number of plays, because he and I were at the All-Star game, there in Chicago for 3 weeks and practicing to play the Detroit Lions.
Now, he's a guy who was affected profoundly in his latter years by dementia.
Okay.
As many of your colleagues, John Mackey, we could go down the list. I see no signs of any kind of issues with you. How did you avoid that? Because you were a guy who loved contact.
Well, I think I tried to initiate the contact. You know, whenever I broke through that line, that peripheral vision, you're trying to pick up the people and the angle they have on you is to try and get the most yards you can get. And once I'm getting ready to initiate that contact, I'm trying to drop down, still protecting the ball, but trying to use this other arm. I guess this arm carried that ball more times than the other side. But I'm trying to get down where I've got my power and my strength and my legs and my shoulders and things, and not be up here where they got so much to shoot at and you don't have any strength. So it's kind of instinctively you're getting ready, and I'm ready to use this other arm, this shoulder, to void off a tackler.
He looks like he could still do it.
And it's all instinctive. You know, I mean, you just can't. You're not thinking about it. I mean, you know, once you break through there, these people are coming at you from all over. You know, your safeties and your linebackers and all the different defensive people, and you're just trying to get whatever yards you can, and mainly try and stay from point A to point B and not go those sidelines. We've got a lot of running backs that love to get out of bounds. They don't want to get hit. So I'm going on that sideline. They can't hit me once I get out of the bounds, out of the field of play. So, you know, so it's, you know, you just got to know that there's lots of contact out there, and you've got to accept it up front and determine that you're going to initiate some of that. You're not going to be there on this and in a position where they just, you know, wearing you out, trying to put the hurt on you.
There's a book over at the LSU Union about the history of the National Football League, and it has Jim Taylor on the cover when he was Green Bay, number 31. You were 42 at LSU. How'd you get number 31?
I don't know. You don't have any choice. When you go to a
You
team,
didn't choose it.
they just give you a number and that's it. I mean, you don't have, it's not like grab bag. They go in the hat there and they pull that out. This is you. Just put this on you.
How did Horning get 5, though?
I don't know whether he had some connections or what.
Dietzel at the end of the game said Jim Taylor is the best player he's ever seen. And he went on and proved that in the NFL.
Thank you.